Meet your angels and guides with spiritual teacher, Sunny Dawn Johnson. Well, we all have heard about guardian angels, and perhaps we even feel like we have one in our own lives. Well, my guest today is Sunny Dawn Johnson, and she has written a book on invoking the archangels. Sunny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what role do angels play in our lives?
Well, there are guardians, there are guides. They really just make life, first of all, more fun, I think.
Yeah.
But they give us the guidance and direction as we're kind of moving through all this human stuff.
You know, I know historically angels are portrayed as messengers. Mm-hmm. Is that the role that they play?
I think for a lot of people, I really think that they come to you in the form that you believe them to be. So for some people it feels like a messenger, for some people it feels like a best friend, or some people even think that when their loved ones have passed over that is their angel. They'll say my grandmother's my angel and things like that. So it really is everybody's individual perception. I really just suggest that, hey, they're there. Why don't you communicate with them, see how it feels, and go from there on it,
You and I both have done some work with angels, you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see in our culture, pictures of giant wings and they're on Christmas trees. But what do angels look like?
Well, my first experience, I was 13 years old, and I woke up in the middle of the night to this beautiful, winged, colorful being that looked like the images that we see. And I'd never really experienced angels before. So they can come to you in that form, but they also, for me, they come as just an energy, just a light energy. A lot of people will feel them, some will see them, some hear. But in the visual form, they can come as that winged being, but they also oftentimes just come as an energy. And so there's not one answer for that question.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I started experiencing and connecting with the angels and deceased energies when I was 13. I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, in a metaphysical home, so it was very interesting journey, and really pushed those gifts, that intuitive gift, away for a long time because I didn't fit in, and it was difficult. So until I was about 27, 28, and it started pushing back then. And so I started teaching classes and workshops and teaching people how to develop their intuition and how to connect with their angels and their deceased loved ones. And so that door has been being opened and open, more and more open as we've moved on. And so now that's what I do. I teach classes, I speak across the country, and then I've written the book to help people on their own journey so they don't have to go through all the struggles that I went through.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about the book. I mean, I love it, Invoking the Archangels.
Yes, Invoking the Archangels is the title of the book, and it is it's my personal journey from the beginning, 13 years old, where I had that first angel experience and never even had the idea that they even existed. And then through that journey and how they would show up in my life at different times, and I had these amazing miracles happen in my life that really, one, was life-saving, and so I'm sharing for people to be able to find their own journey and their own way and give them some tools so they don't have to keep hitting their head against the wall like I did for so many years in denial of it,
So when that first angel showed up, you're 13 years old, you see this glowing being in your room. I mean, what was your thought?
You know what? the thing that was bigger than what I saw was what I felt.
Right.
And what I felt was this calm, quiet, gentle peace. And I had never felt that in my life. And so I literally rolled over and went back to sleep. And it was when I woke up in the morning and I thought, okay, wait a minute, that was not normal.
What was that?
And I went downstairs and I told my mom what I had experienced, and she said, well, Sunny, that was your guardian angel. And she went on to tell me that 2 hours earlier, she had been in my room. And she'd actually prayed over me and asked for God and the angels to surround me because she was concerned about my mental and emotional state of being. And 2 hours later, I awoke to the manifestation of her prayer, really.
I'm getting the chills as we're talking.
I know, isn't that cool?
It's getting little tingles.
It's goosebumpy.
It's interesting because, as an intuitive myself, a lot of people come forward and they say, well, tell me what my guardian angel's name is. I want to meet my guide. Tell me about my guides. What's your response to that?
My response is usually, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
My response is, you can ask that question yourself. And you can get the answer, and it will feel true for you. Anybody can give any name. And if they have a name, I can validate it for them oftentimes, but I like them to do the work, them to connect. So they have the recognition that they have the ability to do this. You know, that's the big falsehood, I think, is so many people think they have to come to us as intuitives to get their information and their support or their guidance or connect with their deceased loved ones, and it's not the case. You know, everybody has this gift. It's just that you have to develop it if you choose to. You don't have to, but if you want to develop it, you can develop it to be able to have your own connection, your own experience, and that's really what the whole book is about, is ways to connect with the spirit world if you want to. I mean, it's fine for people to come to us, but, you know, they don't need to.
You know, it's interesting because I think that many of you believe that you're going to hear this voice that comes in, that angelic voice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's going to
that
give you
easy?
this message. And I have this story that, you know, I was starting a new business, and I was, you know, had rented out a little space to have a booth at this show. And on the way in, I heard this message inside me, you know, the angels are behind you. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a nice thought, you know. And it's kind of funny because I do believe that the angelic realm has a sense of humor.
Absolutely.
And so I'm in the booth, you know, starting my new business, and there aren't that many clients yet. And I'm like, am I in the right business? You know, should I be doing this? This was a while back. And I take a break and I go to the ladies' room, which is right behind me, and it's angelic wallpaper. So there's like angels on the wallpaper. So literally the angels were behind me for my you know, first foray into this new business. And I laughed because I thought it's not always that direct communication. It's not always someone just saying, you know, this disembodied voice saying, you know, turn right or do this in your life. That it's all kinds of signs and messages that if we're open to listening on different levels, we get, you know, some direction in different ways.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, what's important in what you just said was if you're open to listening.
Right.
If you can take the signs and just follow that just a little bit, it just kind of guides you along. And sometimes it is that loud voice.
Right.
But that's usually when it's so serious that you haven't been listening, right? That's when it's the loud voice or the knock on the head that says, okay, now it's time to pay attention, here we are. But it typically, for me anyway, it's very subtle, very subtle. It's just a nudge, you know, a glance, a symbol, a sign on a license plate, you know, a variety of different things. And if we start paying attention to those, that gives us the guidance and the information to then make the next step.
So in your book, Invoking the Archangels, who are the archangels?
Well, for me, they've been, they're my teammates. They're my support. And, you know, as far as religiously, I didn't write the book. There's no religious background in this book. I didn't really have any. Even though I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, I wasn't raised in religion. So the archangels just started appearing to me. They appeared in different colors, with different energy, and different messages. So to me, they're my guys, and I'm like, okay, guys, you know, that's how I talk to them. Okay, guys. But they, you know, the one that most people have heard of is Archangel Michael. And look at you, you got this beautiful blue Archangel Michael.
Wearing
rocking Michael's energy, right? And Archangel Michael, being the angel of protection, is the one that most people are familiar with because he's the angel on policemen and firemen's badges and the angel of protection.
Carries that sword.
Carries that sword for protection. And I think that so many people right now in where we're living and the way we're living need that support and that to know that they're protected, not just here physically, but we have this spiritual protection also. And so Archangel Michael is the angel I've worked so much with. I was introduced to him at 13. He was the first archangel that I experienced. And so from there, he's been kind of my strong teammate, always on my side. I always call him in to help me because I think that right now, so many people are so sensitive. And they're feeling the energy of everybody else's stuff.
And it feels unsafe,
and
too.
It feels
like,
unsafe,
ooh.
it feels ick. You know, people get depressed. There's a lot of heaviness right now with the fear. And for me, working with Michael consistently for the last 15 years has shifted that fear. So I don't have that same, I don't absorb everybody's energy anymore. Instead, I can observe it, witness it, but not take it on as my own, and it would make me physically sick. So he's my, you know, my number one teammate, I would say.
So to someone who's watching at home, if you are interested in the angels and you want to use the energy of Archangel Michael as a shield for this energy, how would you do that?
Well, for me, I visualize the color blue, and I visualize myself just surrounded, almost like a bubble, like I'm stepping into this energy of protection so that I can observe the energy instead of absorb the energy.
So you just use your imagination, right?
Absolutely.
You just imagine you're in this cobalt blue bubble.
Yes.
And what kind of sensations happen then?
Oh, you know, I feel it. I'm a feeler. I'm clairsentient.
Yeah.
I'm a feeler. So I get kind of like you said, the goosebumps.
Right.
I feel the energy of safety, of protection within, and then it's almost as if I can walk out in the world and witness everybody's experience, but not take it all on as my own and then feel like I need to fix it all.
You know, it's interesting, like this time of year, you know, people are out, they're shopping, they're at the mall, and you come home from that experience and you just feel tired, drained, crabby. Is that part of what we're talking about?
Exactly what we're talking about, and so many people do that. And when you know, in my classes and workshops, when I teach people, they're like, "Oh, that's it. That's what all I need to do is this." And I'm like, that is a huge piece of it for so many people, because so many people are sensitive. They're feeling the energy and they don't know it.
Right.
And crowds, a lot of them stay away from crowds because of that. And it's not necessary to hide. You just want to walk the world in a different way.
So who else is out there that we can meet?
Well, you know, I'll talk about Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing, and Raphael is the angel that I called upon right after I had my son. So I was a teenage pregnant mom and had a very, very difficult pregnancy. And during that time, I developed toxemia, preeclampsia, eclampsia, and so when I got to the point of delivering him, I had a stroke. And after, you know, emergency C-section and all that, I was very, very sick. I had a 106-degree temperature for over 3 weeks.
Wow.
Couldn't find a cause or cure. Nothing would work, basically. They put me on every antibiotic. And one day the doctors came into my room and they said, "There's nothing else we can do. We've tried everything. We don't know what is causing this." I hadn't seen my son since the second day was, you know, when he was 2 days old. And they wanted me to sign my rights away to him because they were afraid that because I was a single mom, they needed to know who he should go to because I wasn't going to live. And so I laid in my hospital room with that information all by myself. And Archangel Raphael just came to me. And so what I did was I visualized, he vibrates the color green, emerald green. And I just visualized that green healing energy. And I imagined as if I was breathing in that healing energy and that it was and I was breathing out the toxicity and the toxins and all the garbage that was in my body. And after doing that for 12 hours, my fever broke for the first time in 3 weeks. And the next day, unauthorized, I checked myself out of the hospital so that I could go home and be with my son. And of course, it was a long journey, but really when I called in Raphael that day, something changed. And I don't think, had I done that, I don't know what else would have happened. And I don't want to know, you know, but I'm grateful because it really did shift things for me. And I felt like, you know, the doctors called it a miracle, right? And what I know is that that's the energy that I allowed myself to receive the healing as I laid in that. I laid with my arms open, you know, just receiving.
So for you, it was as simple as just seeing your angel and then inviting this emerald green energy and this healing energy, and then just taking it in over and over again. Can it be that simple for someone else?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I just that energy was there. I kept asking to be surrounded by that energy and kept breathing that healing energy in. And as I did that, I could feel. I didn't know what I was feeling, but I could feel something taking place. And you know, I think that for most people, our challenge in this world is so many people are great givers, but not very many people know how to receive.
Right.
Whether that's compliments, whether it's help.
I'm sure that's none of you, right?
I'm sure. I'm sure it's none of them. Your audience is different. But when you have to when your life is on the line, and you have no other options, receiving in that form for me was life-changing, and it taught me that. So I knew that that was work I had to do for the rest of my life.
You know, and you raise a really important point that it's important that you ask.
Absolutely.
You know, I was thinking about, someone was talking about this once with the angels, and it's like, did anyone call you today? Nope. Anyone call you? It's like they're sitting around waiting to help, but we don't call. It's like we think that they're too busy for us.
Right. Or we don't feel good enough.
Right.
We don't feel worthy is what and that was, I mean, I learned about the angels after I started having these experiences at 13, and there were very few times that I actually would ask for their help until I was on my deathbed, you know, or
literally.
On the ground, you know, not knowing where to go, that I would ask for help. And finally I got to a place that was like, maybe you don't need to be that dramatic.
Do we have to wait that long?
We don't have to do that. We could actually just ask in just basic general life. You don't have to get to desperation.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the ambulance.
Absolutely.
The angel ambulance.
Yeah, the emergency room. And I do. That's kind of my visualization. Is they're all kind of hanging out, and they're just like waiting. Okay, gosh, if you'd just call on us, we could really help you. Hello, we're here. And then they show us the signs, but we're like, oh, I'm just busy. Living
I'm
my
texting.
life. Right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of busy. So yes, it's that embracing that willingness to ask and then receive.
You know, one of the things that is so inspiring about you to me is that you use this in your everyday life. Like it's a relationship that you have. Can you take us through what that looks like? I mean, how do you start your day with the angels? How do you use it in your everyday life?
Well, so I found 4 things that are my things I do every morning. The first thing that I do is I meditate. And, I pushed against meditation for many years because I don't like to be quiet. I don't like to sit still, So I'm like, ugh. But everybody said, you got to meditate. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I meditate, and I think it's different, though. For me, I meditate just to plug in, to connect.
Right.
I don't meditate to receive all this, phenomenal information. I meditate to say, I am spirit embodied. And so I want to connect first. So I meditate, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. It just depends on when I feel complete.
Right.
The second thing I do is I call in Archangel Michael every single day without exception. Every single day without exception. And do my visualization in my little blue bubble. And when I feel that, I'm done. The third thing I do is I open my arms and I say I'm open and receptive to all that is good.
I am open and receptive to all that is good.
And I wait till I feel it here in my heart. So I breathe it in, I say it again, I breathe it in. And sometimes it's just a couple of times, and other times I have to lay there and tell myself, seriously, Sunny, you really are open to receive. Because that was such a challenging thing for me. I had a lot of self-esteem and worthiness issues growing up, and so I had to learn to be willing to receive. And then the fourth thing I do when I get out of bed is, how may I serve? And so that's my morning, and sometimes that's 15 minutes total, sometimes it's a half hour total. It just depends, but I don't move until that's done.
So as a well-known, successful author, you travel a lot.
Yes.
So do you bring this exercise with you?
I do. Actually, when I started
some
my
people
book,
say they're just too busy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no. You can't be too busy. To me, it's like, would I walk out of the house without brushing my teeth? Probably not. I mean, we're hoping not, right?
Right.
So why would you not connect with that source energy, whatever it is for you? I don't care what you call it, but why would you not take the time to at least acknowledge that first, if that's your guiding, what's guiding you and what's connecting, what's helping you to make this journey more
It's like a
fulfilling.
lamp without the cord plugged in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, that's the first thing. And yes, on tour, wherever we were, whatever hotel, yes, I bring that with me, because if I don't, it's an ugly day. It's like you want to go back to bed and start over again then, because nothing seems to flow if you've gotten used to, and that's part of your program, you know?
Talk to me about the space that you create. I mean, do you have to have your meditation cushion? Do you have to have the crystals on the side? Do you have to have like a quiet chair, certain kind of music? Some people are like, it has to be all set.
Yeah, this might be disappointing. In my bed, wherever I am, with nothing, just me. Because you know what? That's all I need. It's a spiritual connection. I don't need, not that those things aren't nice.
Right.
So there are times where I may want to light a candle, or I may go in my office, or I may go in my healing center and have some music going, and that's beautiful. But I need it to be as simple and easy as possible, or I won't do it. That's my personality, and I know myself. I'm an Aries, and I'm like, hey, I got to get going, And so I think that it's very important to do what will work for you. But all the stuff is not necessary. It isn't necessary. It's great. It enhances it, but it's not needed.
Let's say someone is watching and they're going through a crisis in their life right now. What would be the first step they could take to connect to their angels in the way that you're talking about?
Ask. First step, ask. I did a little, in the book, I've got a little 4-step process. Ask, allow, believe, receive.
Okay.
The first step is ask. You just, and people say, well, how do you do that? I'm just like this, you know, hey guys, help. and I do, that's my conversation. And it's a conversation I'm always having. So it's so natural to me that I don't even think about the fact that it's just like talking right now to you.
Right.
You know, hey, help me, or hey guys, or Michael, or whoever you want to call on. And if you don't know, if you're like, this is all new to me, then angels, please help me, please guide me, please give me a sign. But you don't get to tell them what sign and what time.
Yeah,
right?
give me a sign at 12:15.
Right. I would like it with a feather dropping in front of me while I'm driving down the road. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So we have to be present, and I think that's one of the things people have a challenge with is we have to be present in this moment because Spirit is speaking to you now, not in 10 minutes, not 10 minutes ago. Right now. And so the signs and the messages are going to come. And if you are not present, if you're thinking about where you're going or what you're going to have for lunch.
Or you're worrying.
Yeah, or you're worrying, you're in fear, you're going to miss the message. And they're coming all the time. It's said that we get 1,000 messages a day from the spirit world. How many do you get? How many do you catch? Right?
Yeah.
So I think that asking is the most important thing.
So it looks like you have some fun stuff here. Show us these cards.
Okay, well these are, so after I wrote the book, I felt like I wanted to give people some tools because people like tools. Again, they are not necessary. They're not necessary, but they like them. So the cards...
Give the people what they like.
Right, well, and to support their journey.
Right.
Because like you said, the meditation music and the candles, yeah, a lot of people feel like they need that.
Right.
You don't need it. But if you like it, great.
Right.
We don't want it to be a crutch. So these cards are actually cards that we created. So they have each one of the archangels and what they mean, what they help with, their color vibration, their gemstone, and then the invocation that I use myself. So there's each one of the different archangels, and then there's also the 9-step process that I created to heal your heart. And this was really guided. I discovered that I had a process. I didn't even know I had a process. Right. But I discovered that I had a process that I personally walked through in my own healing, and that when I worked with clients over the years, I've walked them through this same process. So then there's the 9-step process, and there's a card for each one of the steps as well. That's my favorite step, actually, right there, responsibility.
What does responsibility mean?
Well, responsibility means just taking ownership of your life and getting over the blame. You know, not saying, oh, if it weren't for this person or that person. So the thing I love about responsibility is when you take responsibility, then you have the power to heal it. When you assign blame to someone else, the power to heal is in their hands.
Right.
That's not where we want our healing. We want it in our hands. So responsibility to me is, you know, you created your life, whether you consciously are aware of it or not. And so there's no one else to blame. Just if you can take the responsibility, you can move forward and you can heal yourself.
Now, how many angels are there?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I'm an angel expert and I don't know. Because, you know, there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands. You know, I think there's as many angels as there are people. So, and more. And, you know, there are a lot that are unnamed. You know, I think a lot of times people know of the 7 archangels, and some people have said, well, you've written a book and you've only talked about 7, and there's this one and this one and this one. First of all, I'm not coming from a religious background. These are the angels that showed up in my life. And different angels come into our life at different times for different reasons. Just like people come into our life at different times for different reasons. So we may need help with healing, and that might be Raphael. Or we may need help in creative energy and manifesting things we want, and so that would be Archangel Jophiel. So these angels all came to me. I didn't go to them. So I'm just learning along with everyone else how many there are. And I always tell people, follow your own guidance. If you've got an angel that's coming to you, just ask.
So what's possible when you live your life with your angels?
Wow, anything is possible. You know, my life is 180 degrees from where it was when this first started happening. You know, at the time that I started experiencing the angels, and especially Archangel Raphael, I was a single teenage mother living on welfare and food stamps, in a shack, sleeping on the floor with no bed, no crib for my son, and have moved from listening to the guidance. And the biggest thing with the angels was they taught me how to love myself. They taught me that I deserved to be loved and feel that unconditional love and then share it with others. So from that place that I began, and embracing this energy has really allowed me to not only expand, but to grow to a place of self-love and having that value and esteem within me. So I think that in that process, anything can happen. Because if you would have seen me at 18, 19, you wouldn't recognize me as the woman that I am today, because I allowed that love to come in. And that was the greatest gift.
So any person who's out there, no matter where they're at in their life, do you believe that their lives can be enriched, bigger, by working with the angels?
Absolutely. And if they want to. And I think that's important. If people are like, oh, I don't know about this, then I'd say don't. Follow your own guidance. But yes, I think that if people feel connected to, aligned with the angelic energy, then it can only be positive for you and raise your vibration. And when we raise our vibration, everything works better. Everything flows, right?
Awesome. Sunny Dawn Johnson, thank you so much for being here with us on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.